for the AI Advantage with me, Peter Swain, wherever you're watching this from, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook. We are glad to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. Right, what are we talking about today? We're talking about the second layer and the second level of AI. That's what I want to talk about specifically today. And what I mean by that is, where do we go? So level 0 of AI is when you're like, well, I kind of use it to write the odd email, that kind of thing. That's what you're doing at level 0, which is fantastic. It's good to have you doing that. And then we get to level 1. And level 1 is where you've picked up Excalibur, you've felt the sword, you're like, wow, it can do that, or maybe it can do this, and maybe it can do this, and maybe it can do this. And you start finding all of these different places to augment your life with AI. And really, there's no end to that fun, because you start coming up with all these different places that you can start using AI, whether it's to help you with your weight loss journey or your supplements, or to write proposals, or to do deep research, or to critique your skills when you do lives like this. You're like, here's my transcript, what did I do right, what did I do wrong? And you suddenly find out that you suck because the AI tells you didn't do so well. Maybe that did or didn't happen. So that's kind of like level 1. So level 0 is you use it to write the odd email and do the odd thing. Level 1 is when you're like, okay, I can augment my life, right? I can do better than I was doing at everything in my life. I can start using AI all over the place. What about level 2, right? What does level 2 look like? And level 2 is super fun. Level 2 is where you start looking at the metrics of your life or the metrics of your business, and you start wondering what else it is that it could do that you can't do. So before, we're getting it to help us be better at what we do. That's fine. That's good. That's great. Keep doing that. If you're there, do that. Keep doing that. But then you start thinking about what it can do that you can't do. So I'm happy to take questions. If you want to put them in the chat, if I see them, we'll answer them. And if not, then I'm just going to keep riffing about this, and we can start talking about where it applies. So as humans, when we run a business, we start accepting metrics that we don't need to accept. I've heard these across every single industry, every single job, every single size, every single function has these same inaccurate assumptions. Let me give you an example. You probably think that you can't answer the phone 24 hours a day. Why not? Why can't you have AI voice agents answer the phone 24/7, 365? Now, you would be correct if you came up and said, yeah, but Pete, they're not as good as the humans, right? So if you said, yeah, but Pete, AI can't answer the phone as well as my humans can, you'd be right. So what I don't suggest is that you replace AI, humans with AI. What I suggest you do in this case is you augment. So instead of receptionists working 9 to 5, so from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. no one's manning the phones and they leave a crappy voicemail, why not have AI take the weight then? Number one. Number two, how many calls do you think go unanswered because your staff, your team, your people are on the phone to other people? Right? Now, the statistic is quite terrifying. It's about 20 to 25% of call volume is the average. So if you get, say, 10 calls in the day, that means you're missing 2.5 calls. Call it 2 for safekeeping. And if you're missing that 240 days a year, 240 work days a year, that means you're missing live calls, live opportunities potentially with clients 480 times a year. 480 times a year. That's a pretty astounding number to be throwing away. Now, it's because in the past we didn't have any choice. Right? We couldn't answer all the phones. It physically wasn't possible, and it didn't make sense to hire teams like outsourced call teams or outsourced staffing teams in order to handle just 1 or 2 calls. So the ROI wasn't there, so we didn't do it. But with AI answering the phone, it costs 20 cents a minute, 8 cents a minute, with no staffing and no training costs, no upfront costs, no management costs, no SaaS costs. Literally 20 cents a minute, Vappy can pick up a phone call for you. And programming one of their agents is really, really simple. So you can get out of the box 20 cents a minute the ability to have 24/7, 365 capability to answer the phone. So that's one example of where AI can just come in and go, oh, you couldn't do this. Well, how about this? Now, let's say that you're not particularly gemmed up on social media. Well, I'm using this software called Riverside to film this live. And when I hit end, it goes through the broadcast and finds the points that were interesting and hook-worthy and noteworthy and cuts them into clips. So it cuts them into 50 to 60-second clips, which I can just literally download and post. So if you're not somebody that's doing that, why not? Like, just do a live like this, or if you're not the kind of person that wants to get on camera all the time, do a Zoom call, same thing, feed it in, take it out, boom, put it onto the other side. So we first have to look at, we have to layer people up these levels. So the first level is find that first use case, rewrite the email, rewrite the presentation, critique this. Then the second level, which this one is level 1, second level is level 1, you know what I mean? Level 1 is, okay, I've now got it to help me do these tiny small things more efficiently, but what if I could push that further, right? What if I could take that further by getting it to help me with things that previously were outside of my domain? Those are normally things where you would normally pay an expert to help you, like a supplement regime, like a healing regime, if you just tore an ACL, or weight loss advice, or a weight loss accountability partner, or business plans, or figuring out P&L statements, or you name it. Like, I can carry on with those all day, all night, keep going, and there's still more of them to do, because AI can literally sit as a thought partner on anything of those, and it can certainly sit as an execution partner on about 80% of those. So, but then once we got that done, then we start looking at this other place of going, wow, I can't afford X resource in my business. I wonder if it can do Y. And the size of the scale of those projects is going to get more, depending on how big the thing we're biting off is. But most of us are sitting on massive amounts of inefficiency. So whether it's unanswered phone calls, whether it's emails that don't get responded to for 12, 24 hours, whether it's triaging incoming sales requests to work out which ones are hot and which ones are not. Those are the kind of things where AI can just come on board and say, I can do that, and I can do it pretty damn quick. So today's lesson, if there is one, is look through your business and start thinking about where it can sit. Because when you have experts available to you in any region, and I say this, Liz and I have run this company collectively now for a good couple of years, and what we have found is that people ask a degree of sharp question, right? So sharp questions versus unsharp, blunt questions. So blunt question is, where can I use AI in my business? And it's very, very hard for us to help. And I think that's true of any experts in the world. If you ask unclear, unqualified questions, the answer is, well, I don't really know where to help you. Whereas if you come to somebody like me and say, my business isn't answering 37% of incoming calls, how can I use AI to help me? Then we can answer that question pretty easily and pretty quickly. And we can point you in the right direction. Now, that's not just me, that's literally any expert you go to. You want to be asking as sharp a question as possible with as many metrics to get them to where you want to be as you can. Because that's what we're here for. That's what all experts are here for. We're here to help cut time. We're here to help shrink the time scale for you to be able to do the thing better. But to do that, you have to be in the arena. You have to be playing with the stuff. You have to be using this stuff so that you can start getting some ideas of where this thing can be used and where this thing can't be used in order to get yourself the acceleration that you need. The reason this becomes so important is because if you don't do it and your competition does it, how are you going to compete? Okay, how are you going to compete if your competition is answering every single phone call within 5 seconds and you're still taking half an hour to come back to people on a voicemail? Because if you just, I want to think about like the most non-AI enabled business you can. Let's say a plumber, right? I know exactly how I react. I pick up the yellow pages, I dial the first number, and if they don't respond, I dial the second number, and if they ask me to leave a voice note, I go to the third number, And if they don't respond, I go to the fourth number, and I keep going until somebody picks up the phone and I can say, I need this. And they say, yep, I'll be there in 3 days. It doesn't matter whether they say they're going to be with me in 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, 20 days. I don't care. My solution is that they have said that they will fix it and they're going to arrive. So the first, the second, the third, and the fourth people on that list didn't get my business, not because they weren't great at what they do, not because they didn't have a great name, not because they hadn't got qualifications, not because they hadn't been certified, but simply because they didn't pick up the damn phone. Now, maybe that's a great space for you to start when you start looking at what AI can do for you. It's not there to compete with your humans, it's there to augment the capabilities that your humans simply can't achieve. Like, your humans can't achieve this because they can't stay awake 24/7, 365, and they shouldn't, because that's not when they're going to be super smart and super clever. What they can do is they can be super smart and super clever for that time, and AI can pick up the slack for the rest of the time. Is AI ready? Yes. Is it as good as a human? No. But is it better than the phone not being answered at all? 100%. I'm only using the phone as an example because as this applies to you, it's going to be different for everybody. The thing that your business isn't doing that it should be doing, I'm guessing you know it, but I don't know it. But the phone example is one that I think we can all understand and we can all run with. So level one, how do I use AI to augment my life and help me do all these different things better, is fantastic. Level two is where we start pulling back the rug and going, what else can this do that I can't possibly do on my own? And that's where you start seeing true acceleration in return on investment, in margin, in revenue, decrease in costs, and all of the wonderful things that all of us AI folks are talking about. With that said, thank you so much for being here. That was today. This was the fourth day of my lives, by the way. So today, hopefully my audio is better. If not, then I guess I sucked again. But I think the audio is good. We shall find out when I watch the recording back. So hopefully the audio was good. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 5 of the AI Advantage, where we're going to keep going with this until we get it